Officer, or Detective Boyd Littlefield.
And how are you employed, sir?
Detective with the City of San Antonio.
How long have you been with the City of San Antonio?
About 17 years.
And how long have you been a detective?
6 months. 8 months.
Back on, I'm going to take you back to September 28th of 2002. Okay, do you remember that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what was your capacity with the San Antonio Police Department at that time, sir?
I was a patrol officer working on the east side. Call was for a hold-up alarm at the Ace Cash Express. We got quite a few false alarms there because just employees going in and out, into these businesses, we would get a lot of false alarms. It was 8:30, it was 8:28 in the morning, I believe, if I remember correctly. So I knew it was probably an employee coming into work that may have tripped the alarm.
Now, at the time that you entered the Cash Express, do you have your radio in your hand?
Yes.
Do you have anything else in your hand?
No.
Do you have your weapon out at that point?
No. I knocked on the door, or the window, I can't remember. I think I knocked on the window. Said, hello, police. I waited. Nobody came out, so I knocked again, and the teller came out.
Okay, now how long do you think from the time that you first knocked to the time that you second the time that you knocked? How long was that in between?
20 seconds, maybe.
And you said after the second time you knocked, a teller came to the window.
Yeah, she
correct?
came out and sat down in the first upper window.
And this is a female teller?
Yes.
And how did she appear to you at that point?
I didn't notice anything out of the norm. I told her that I had gotten a hold-up alarm and asked if everything was okay.
And did she respond to you?
She said something, but I couldn't hear her. She was mouthing words. I thought I couldn't hear her because of the glass between us.
What did you tell her at that point?
I said, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Is everything okay? And her eyes kind of welled up like something was wrong. And I said, what happened? What's going on? Are you okay? So about that time, the door flew open.
Right. And is this the inner door that is beside the teller window that she
Yes.
was at?
The one right next to her teller window.
Okay, and when the door flew open, what did you see?
I saw Terry Newman come out with a gun pointed to my head.
Now,
A small handgun.
when you say you saw Terry Newman, do you see the person in the courtroom today that had the gun to your head?
Yes, he was. I'm sitting in orange.
Let the record reflect he has identified the defendant. Now, when that defendant came out of the door with his gun pointed at your head, did he have a mask on at that point?
No.
Okay, so you could see his face at that point.
Yes.
And when he pointed the gun at your head, did he say anything to you?
Pardon my language. You say, give me your fucking gun. I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Okay. And at that,
Repeatedly.
repeatedly. So more than one time?
Yes.
And at that time, how did the defendant, you said the defendant had the gun pointed at your face, is that correct?
Yes.
And how was he acting? I know what he was saying, but how was he saying it?
He was extremely agitated. He was yelling, get your hands up, give me your gun,
At that
I'll
point,
kill you.
did you believe you were in a life and death
Oh,
situation?
yeah. Definitely.
How far away were you at that point when he came out and had the gun to your face? How far away were you from this defendant?
When, no more than a few feet. When he came out with the gun, I started backing, and he told me to get my hands up. I didn't want to bring them too high above my weapon, because the first opportunity I had, I was going to draw a knife and shoot him. So I had my hands just above waist level. I had my radio on my left hand, and I hit my emergency tone, or emergency button on the radio, so the dispatcher would know I was in trouble. And I backed up a little bit. We had about 10 feet between us after I backed up. From there, we maintained that distance, and I was moving towards the west wall of the building.
And is he saying anything to you as you are backing up, trying to figure out what to do?
He just continued body shot to draw and shoot him, but I knew at that distance it's going to be hard to miss if he pulled the trigger.
So what happened at that point?
Backed up, and I was thinking I had like run everything through my head, trying to come up with a game plan, figure out what to do. I was thinking action versus reaction, wondering if I could draw. I was almost arguing with myself, and I draw and shoot before he can pull the trigger. If I go for my gun, I knew I had to go down, rock my back, break the snap, rock it back, pull it out, and come forward. And I was debating on whether or not I had time to do that. I was wishing he would have pointed at my body, and wishing he was close enough to where I could grab him. And I thought in my head, again, excuse my language, why don't you drop the gun and fight me like a man, you son of a bitch. And I was still backing slowly. He was close enough to keep the same distance. Still, I was thinking, I could drop on my back, draw and fire. And then I was thinking, well, no, they ain't gonna be on the ground in a gunfight. That's not where you want to be. And keep playing these scenarios out in my head on what I could do. And I finally decided, well, I've got to get him close enough to fight him, because I was about to run out of work to back it up, and I want to be against the wall. So.
It sounds like this is slow, obviously.
Oh, it seemed like it.
Process.
I know it took no more than a few seconds for this whole thing to take place, but it seemed like an hour. I finally dropped my radio, and I said, come get it. That's the only thing I said to him.
And when you said come get it, you obviously were referring to the gun that he
Yeah.
was demanding from you.
Yeah, I wasn't going to give it to him. There was no way I was going to give him my gun.
And what did the defendant do with that?
I stopped moving, he approached. When he got close, he lowered his gun, chest level. When he did, I grabbed it with my left hand, twisted it, and came in with my right hand. I had to depend on my holster to keep my gun in place. Well, I ripped it out of his hands and shoved it into his sternum. And he was kind of bent towards me, and I was just going to empty the gun into him. When I pulled the trigger, the gun didn't fire. So.
And what did he do at that point?
At that point, I didn't even feel it. I heard, I hear my gun come out of the holster, and now I'm looking down the barrel of my Glock.
Okay, so at this point, you have possession of his gun that did not fire when you pulled the trigger. And he has possession of your police-issued firearm that you know works,
Yes.
correct? And what did you do at that point, or what did he do at that point?
He's got my Glock in my face. I can see the hollow point sitting in the chamber.
How'd that feel?
Not very good.
So you could actually see the bullet. You were close enough, he had it pointed at you close enough that you could see the bullet going down.
And I just knew any minute the gun was going to fire. And we turned, and all I'm thinking is I've got to cock this gun and shoot. It was a single action semi-auto that he had, which means it has to be manually cocked, either by a slide action or cocking it. And I just assumed if I cocked it, it would fire, or hoped if I cocked it, it would fire. That was the quickest option I had. So we turn, and he starts backing towards the door, still pointing my gun at me. And I'm thinking, well, he's going to shoot and run now. He's got, he's free and clear. So I dropped my knee to make myself a smaller target. On the way to the floor, I cocked his pistol. As soon as I land on my knee, I level on his chest. I have to remember the perfect sight picture. I squeeze the trigger and the gun clicks.
So the gun, for a second time, does not fire.
Correct.
Is that correct? Now, you are dropped down onto the ground on one knee. When you shoot that gun a second time and it doesn't fire, what happens to you? I mean, how do you feel at that
The
point?
loudest click I've ever heard in my life. And I felt like all the blood just drained out of my body. Went through a series of highs and lows. I mean, I started out, I had one chance. That was to get his gun, kill him. And I got his gun, and I went from down here to up here. I mean, it was like, okay, the only chance I had, and it worked. But then his gun didn't fire. So then I dropped back down. Now he's got my gun, so now I'm lower, worse off position than what I started.
get your service revolver back, or your service weapon back that he took from you?
No.
Okay, to this day, you do not have,
Nope.
correct? Now, did you learn, Officer Littlefield, at some point that this defendant was sentenced to 25 years for the aggravated robbery that he committed at Cash Express on September 28th of 2002?
Yes.
And did you learn that 25-year sentence, did you learn ultimately how long the defendant had to serve on that 25-year sentence?
I heard he did about 2.5 years.
And did you learn at that time that he was actually placed on, instead of going from the juvenile system into adult prison to serve out the rest of his 25-year term, that he was given for what he did to both you and Rachel Reyes? Did you learn that he was actually paroled straight out of the juvenile TYC detention center and sent out into the community?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions, and I'll pass this witness.
Defense.
At any time that he had the gun, or a gun, did he attempt to fire at you?
Well, there's a lot of speculation on that because with that dud round in the chamber, I don't know that he didn't drop the hammer when he stepped out of the door.
Okay. But he
The
didn't
hammer
fire.
was already down and there was a light round in the chamber, which means somebody dropped the hammer on that round at that time, or while it was in that chamber. So, had I heard the gun click, I would have drawn mine and emptied it into him.
So you didn't hear any clicks.
No, sir.
So because you didn't hear any clicks, would it be safe to say that you don't believe he fired at you then?
No, it's safe to say that if I had heard the click, which isn't very loud, had I heard that click, I would have known his gun malfunctioned, and that would have given me an opportunity to light him up.
Okay. And that's exactly what you were going to do, weren't you?
If I had a split-second chance, I was going to kill him.
Right. And there was no doubt in your mind that you were going to kill him.
No, sir. Not if I had the opportunity. There's no doubt in my mind that one of us was going to die right there in that building.
Is that
And
the
I was just
policy
hoping
of
it
the
wasn't
San
going to
Antonio
be.
Police
One
Department?
at a time. Go ahead.
Is that the policy of the San Antonio Police Department to assassinate anybody you're supposed to arrest?
No, the policy of our department is to stay alive. If someone's got a gun at your head and you have an opportunity to stop that person, you stop that person.
But the person didn't fire at you, did he? That you know.
Well, if you wait for someone to fire at you first, you're not going to have a very good chance of winning that gunfight.
He had your gun in his hand, didn't he?
Yes,
In fact, he ran away with it.
he's still pointing it at me until he made it out the door.
Could he have shot at you at any point in time?
Yes,
Did he?
no. Not with my gun, I still don't know about the first one.
But he didn't shoot at you with your gun.
No,
And he could have.
yes,
And he probably could have killed you too.
yes.
But he did. You're still here.
By the grace of God.
Because if he had the same intent that you had, you wouldn't be here.
I didn't walk in that room to kill somebody that morning,
Sure sounds like it.
but, when someone
Objection,
stepped
Your Honor,
out.
he is badgering the witness at this point.
Objection sustained.